So what are we doing today, Brian?
Let's do a one on the sides and just trim up the top and go from there.
Okay. So last time I think we did a number 1 on the sides and back. Then we did a hard part right here. And then we're trying to leave a little bit of length in the front so we can get that, that scoop back look. And then we're going to take care of the beard as well?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. How long has it been since your last haircut?
Let's see. Right before I went to Vegas, that was maybe the last week of September.
All right, sounds good. How was Vegas?
It was great. Had a great time.
So I'm starting with my number 1 at the very bottom. It hasn't been that long since this last haircut, so I don't think we need to debulk. We just go right into it. Pretty loud. This is some pretty loud clippers. These are my favorite right now.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just going up about a finger's width above the ear. That'll be my guide to start the haircut, and then we fade it up from there. Did you learn anything while you were out in Vegas?
Met a lot of people. A lot of new people.
Did some networking out there?
I did.
That's great. So now I'm going to go with my lever open and then create my next guide. Do you follow us on YouTube?
No, I need to get on there and check
Yeah,
y'all's
you're
page
going to have to
out.
look for your video.
Yeah.
House of Shaves Barbershop on YouTube.
I might have to get on there and check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah. I did.
You went inside?
Went inside. Oh, yeah. I can't remember what they were playing. Something to do with Earth and the atmosphere and all that stuff. You know how it is. The green.
Like a nature.
Yeah, nature, all that stuff. Yeah. It was pretty cool, though.
It looked cool from the outside. we
Yeah.
walked past it when we were there.
Nice. Y'all didn't go in, though, huh?
Nah. My wife has motion sickness issues, so that would have been an issue for her.
Oh, I could see that. The seating was so steep inside of it.
Mm-hmm. It felt like you were in the rainforest or something.
Yeah.
So I'm going in to create my next guide. But that's the thing, I think a lot of up-and-coming barbers and even clients don't realize is that sometimes what you see on social media isn't the reality, you know? Like the stuff you're seeing on YouTube and social media is oftentimes really heavily edited, or you see the videos that are, the photos that are photoshopped on the internet. So it's sort of setting unrealistic expectations. And then we can get close. But it's not really going to look like that unless you do what they did to make it look like that, you know? So this is a 1.5 guard that I'm using right now to get in between that one open and the 2. So it should start to erase that line. Do most of the barbers that you've gone to, Brian, turn the chair while they're cutting? Or do they have you facing the mirror the whole time?
Sometimes they turn the chair.
The reason why barbers turn the chair a lot during the haircut is because typically the lighting is going to be the best from one angle, and also you can check your work in the mirror. So sometimes looking straight on the haircut might look good, but then if you look in the mirror, you see a spot that's like, oh yeah, I could go over that again. So that's typically like, that's how I was trained and how a lot of barbers are trained. So
Okay.
is to not have them facing one angle the whole time. You want to turn the chair so that way you can always use the best lighting. And plus it's less efficient. You know, if I'm constantly walking back and forth here,
Yeah.
as opposed to standing in one spot, it take me longer, you know.
Makes sense.
But I have had some clients, I have had some clients that were, they would stick their feet to the ground and like refuse to let me turn them. So in that case, or maybe they're just kind of big, you know, and they're too heavy to move. So if that, you know, I think it's important to be adaptable as a barber. So not every technique is going to work in every situation. But in general, I like to turn the chair when I'm cutting somebody's hair. So I'm just going back with my number 1 guard open to get that line that was left between the last step. Now I'm going to go to my, I'm going to clean him off real quick. All right, so this is my number 3. Now it looks like the last time we cut your hair, Brian, we left a little ledge here. If a client's not sure whether they want the ledge or not, then I'll usually leave it. Because if you don't want it, then we can always buzz it down and go shorter.
Don't want it.
Don't want it? Okay. Well, just for that, a ledge is basically when you have it long enough here so that it can lay down. And if a client's not sure whether they want a ledge or not, then I would just recommend leaving one, because then you can always just take the clipper to it like I'm about to do and you go shorter. But always ask, never assume that they want it one way or the other. If you're not sure, one of my general rules of thumb is leave it longer, because you can always go shorter. Right? This is a 3.
Yeah, I want it blended as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
My wife calls it a shelf.
Mm-hmm. So no shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, ledge, shelf. The terms are interchangeable. That's actually I think the hardest part about being a barber.
Yeah.
Is at least that's what I learned the hard way. Is that in the beginning, you know, I used to take what clients were asking for very literally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, like, hey, welcome in. Realize that we're not cutting barbers' hair. So in some cases, people don't really know what they're asking for.
Yeah.
So I don't really go off haircut names anymore. I'm just like, how short do you want it? How do you want to style it? That's really all I need to know. You can call it whatever you want. Because if you tell me like this is how I want my haircut, and I assume, that's where you get into trouble as a barber.
Right.
And when you start making assumptions, it's like, because once the hair is gone, you know, you can't put it back. So this is mine too. Do you wear a lot of hats?
I do.
Did you have one earlier?
I did not.
No.
Mm-mm.
I appreciate it. It's usually not a good idea to wear a hat before your haircut, but we can work with it. Worst case scenario, you know, we can just shampoo it out and loosen that hair back up. Wearing a hat kind of presses it down and creates this hat line in your hair, which kind of makes the barber's job a little bit more tricky. Not sure if that needs to be blended or if it's just like hair that's pressed down against the scalp from the hat. But I mean, a lot of people wear hats before getting their haircut,
Yeah.
so we kind of have learned to work with it. You know? Do you prefer having barbers that talk during a haircut, or are you one of the guys that like to have this is like your only time to relax?
I think it's good conversation goes a long way, you know.
Mm-hmm. Because some clients don't like to talk.
Well, it gives
during
you
a haircut.
opportunity to you know, conversate and connect. You know what I mean? Get to know who your barber is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were just talking before we started. You know, I think it's important to develop a relationship with your barber to where you feel like you can, you know, tell them like, hey, you know, I like the last haircut, but could we try this different? You know, like kind of work together to come up with the ideal haircut for you. And that's probably easier to do if you're talking with each other.
Couldn't agree more.
Some clients don't like to talk, and that's fine too, you know. We still try to break up the sounds every now and then by like, how's everything looking so far?
Yeah.
And, you know. There's no obligation to talk though, that's for sure. As a barber, it's all the same to us. Sometimes we don't feel like talking, you know. Do you like the length of your beard? Do you just want to looking at the lines, or do you want to take some of the length down?
Let's leave the length. Just clean it up. Yes, that'll work.
Okay, sounds good. So since this is a 1 here, this should be a pretty simple taper. I'm gonna start with the no guard with the lever all the way open, and just fade down until it's gone. Typically with a taper, you don't want to take it too high, so I like to stay under the occipital bone there. That's where the blend should stop. So I'm going to go a couple notches down. Working just underneath that last area that I just did. 1 more notch closed, going a little bit lower. Now we're going to go all the way closed. And if your clippers are 0 gap, you want to be careful here. You may not even need to close it all the way. But this is a sensitive part of the neck, so you don't want to push down too hard if your clippers are pretty sharp. I'm going to take my trimmers and clean up the hairline and around his beard. Because we do 30-minute haircut appointments, I should pretty much be done at this point. You know, I probably would have finished cutting the top by now and started cleaning up the back of your neck with the razor, because that's the thing that gets barbers in trouble, is thinking you got 30 minutes to do the haircut. You don't, because you still got to check the clients out and leave time for that. So really, if you got 30 minutes to do a haircut, you really only got like 20, 25. Otherwise, you're always running behind all day. What kind of trimmers do you use at home? Just curious.
Just
not judging. Not judging.
Shoot, I don't know what it's called actually. Then usually I shave with a straight blade, so.
Oh, nice. How long did it take you to learn how to shave with a straight razor?
I'd say At least 2 times. 2 tries at it.
Only 2? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It took me longer than that. So since you taught yourself how to shave with a straight razor, do you have any advice for anybody that wants to learn how to shave with a straight razor?
Just go slow.
Go slow?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Just go slow. I've watched barbers use the straight razor on me, and kind of just watching and observing, and that's how I.
That's a good. That's a great, actually great advice. Yeah, if you want to learn how to line up your own beard or shave yourself, just pay attention to what your barber does, and then try to mimic that at home. Like the reason I do this before I do trimmer work, put my finger down, is because it stabilizes my finger. Because especially in the morning, if I've had too much caffeine, you know, it's like first thing you're gonna feel is my finger, and it stabilizes the trimmer, and then I can be a lot more accurate with the lines. And I learned that from just paying attention to when I was getting a haircut. So you can learn a lot when you go to the barbershop and get your haircut. So you like the hard part right here, right?
Yep, looks good.
And you want to put the line in there with the trimmers?
I would let's leave it out right now.
Just keep it natural?
Yep, keep it natural.
Okay. And do you want to take any length off the top?
Yeah, let's trim it up a little bit.
Just not too much off the front
Off
here,
the front,
right? Because
yeah.
we're trying to get that to go back.
Yep.
Okay. Having a sharp blade definitely helps. But I think prepping the skin has a bigger difference on how smooth the shave is.
What do you recommend for sensitive skin?
What do you mean by sensitive?
Like, in other words, what kind of shaving cream do you recommend?
Well, here we use the, this is what we use to shave here, level 3 shaving gel. At home, I just use pure aloe.
Okay.
Aloe, it's very watery, and I'm not gonna continue to do that once I finish that gallon that I went through. Because I actually tried making my own shave gel at home. Because I noticed that the main ingredient. I tried making my own shave gel at home because I noticed the main ingredient in a lot of shave gels was aloe.
I got
The rest is just like thickeners and perfume, like, you know, scent. So I tried making my own at home, and I felt like I ended up giving up on that project because I felt like it was too much work. But shaving with aloe by itself, you can definitely do it, but you're gonna have to use a lot more, so I'm not sure that it's actually that much more cost effective because you're using so much more. So I think if you have a beard, it's definitely important to use a clear shave gel so that you can see the lines when you're shaving a lot better. How long did you say it's been since your last haircut?
I want to say it was the last week of September.
All right, so we're in almost mid-November now. It's like 5 or 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, usually hair grows about ½ an inch a month on average, so I think this is about right for us for what we're taking off.
Okay.
That's the average, though. You know, you could be faster or slower, but ½ an inch a month is usually. That's what they taught me in barber school. I don't know. Not everything they taught me applies to real life. But I think I went to a pretty good barber school because they actually really tried to keep us busy. And it wasn't until after I graduated that I heard horror stories of other barber schools that basically just take your money and tell you to read the book and don't show you how to do anything.
Oh, wow.
That seems to be more common than the schools that I went to, actually, based on what I've heard.
Yeah.
The real learning happens in the barbershop anyways.
Hands-on, yeah.
You don't really learn how to cut hair in barber school. It just takes so much repetition, and they only have so much time. generally, like, people going to barber schools are not getting like super complicated haircuts, right? Because they know that these are students that are learning, and it's gonna take twice as long and look half as good.
Did you go to a barber school here locally?
No, I went to school in Tampa.
Okay.
Sheer Excellence Hair Academy. I think they're still around. It's a pretty good school. I thought about having a school. It's still not completely off the table.
Yeah.
But actually, I feel like barber, I'm trying to think of a Instagrammy way of saying this. I actually don't think barbers are going to be licensed or required to be licensed for that long, because it seems to me like the states are slowly making it easier to become a barber, which I think in the long term is going to be a good thing, because more people there'll be less of a barrier to entry. But it is going to mean more competition if you don't need a license to cut hair. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that the United States is the only country in the world that requires barbers to be licensed. So I think that eventually barbers aren't going to be required to have licenses. As far as the long-term effect on the industry, we'll see what happens with that. I like to put the shave gel on before the hot towel, because I feel like like we talked about earlier with prepping the skin, I feel like the longer the shave gel or whatever you're using sits on the skin, the more soft it's going to make the hair. So,
Okay.
that's because I've experimented with shaving in the morning, shaving in the middle of the day versus shaving at the end of the day. And I found that what made the biggest difference was not the time of day, but how long I left the shave gel on for. So I try to leave it, before I start shaving, I try to leave the shave gel on the skin as long as possible to have as much time to soften the hair, to make the shave go smoother. But if I had to pick the ideal time of day to shave, I think it would be at the end of the day. Once you kind of sweat a little bit, your skin's not as dry. But if you have to shave in the morning, then just try to leave the shave gel on there as long as possible. Hot towel is not necessary, but it does feel good, and it does soften up the hair even more. You can make a hot towel yourself at home with a microwave or a slow cooker. Here's a straight razor tip. Whenever you're not using it, always keep the lever closed like that. This is like your safety, like a gun, right? So if you're not using it, keep the safety on. That way you're not moving an open razor around the client's face. This is called reverse backhand. It's a little bit easier for me to get the top of his mustache in the upper cheek area than kind of going in it from this angle here. So I prefer, when I'm standing on the client's right side, to do this stroke, it's called, to get this area. But you could also reach over like this from the other side and get the upper cheek area as well. Whatever's easier for you. Also notice I'm doing the same thing I do with the trimmers. The first thing that goes down is my finger to stabilize my hand. So you get it way more stable when you do that. that first line is just kind of like the rough draft, just a bunch of shave gel there. So you wipe that away, and then you can see what the line really looks like. So you want to stretch it, of course, especially if you're using a straight razor. But if you overstretch, that's how it ends up crooked every time, because it only was straight when you were holding it like that. All right, so I'm just trying to pay attention down here to see which direction the hair is growing in, because we want to shave with the grain, because otherwise we are going to increase the likelihood of causing ingrown hairs if we shave against the grain. It does get it closer when you shave against the grain, but it can be more uncomfortable for the client, and you're increasing the likelihood that they get ingrown hairs if you do it. More audio. Eventually we'll have like a private studio for these types of things. That way we don't have to disturb anybody else in the barbershop. Because we have to turn the music off and all this. Well, yes. One of the last times we recorded a YouTube video, there was a kid screaming in the background during the shave, and it was supposed to be like a relaxing shave. Was the idea of the video. But thankfully we were able to edit that out. One of the downsides of recording while the shop is actually open and real clients are getting their hair cut. Turn you this way. Remember, see my razor's closed when I'm not using it.
Sounds good. Let's do 5 weeks out.
Sure, I'll get you in right before Christmas.
Yeah.
How does December 18th sound?
Sounds good?
And then did you want to do another Tuesday?
Yeah, sure. Perfect.
You didn't turn your garage, did you?
No, I'm good.
Raven? 2 o'clock.
Cool. I don't use aftershave, mainly just because I always forget, but I also think I'm allergic to some of the aftershaves that I've used, so I don't even worry about it. But I do think it's a good idea to use aftershave in general. I just don't care that much. You can also use different products together, too. So you can use something as a base kind of product, and then throw like a spray on top of it to give it even more hold. Because some guys, will use like the strongest stuff we have, and still be like, that's not enough hold. And I'm like, well, you can use. Sometimes there's not one product that's gonna like do everything you want, but sometimes if you mix a couple products together, you can actually get that look you're going for.
Okay.
Does that look okay?
Looks good.
Cool. All right. As long as you're happy, I'm happy.